Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to The Division 2. Today, I've got a complete guide for you for the 5th classified assignment of Year 8, released just this week, called the District Mall Inferno. This will be a walkthrough going through how to complete the mission, solve its various puzzles, unlock all of the secret rewards. I will warn you, as much as I try and avoid story spoilers in these videos, this is a very narrative-heavy mission, so some scenes may lightly spoil things, but we'll do our best just to keep it to the need to know. As always, I have to give a reminder that classified assignments are paid pieces of content. You can either individually purchase this from the in-game store, or it is included in this season's Red Horizon Pass bundle. But yeah, we will get straight to it. If you enjoyed this one, you want to see further guides, news, videos on The Division 2 from me moving forward, be sure to subscribe. Sending out a major shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. Your support is above and beyond. I cannot thank you all enough for what you do to keep this channel and myself going. But alright, let's get to it. Now, first off, as usual, I like to show what rewards this mission offers, just so that you have that information when weighing if you think this is worth picking up for you. Firstly, you will score the Incendia named SR1 Marksman Rifle. From this, it comes with Perfect Lucky Shot. As with all of the other named items from these missions, though, the devs have communicated that these will be available at a later date via an alternative source. We just don't have a definitive timeline on that yet. And then, additionally, this mission will unlock you the Alien Backpack Trophy, which is exclusive to this mission. Alright, now to begin, per usual, we need to discover the location of this mission entrance. This one is going to be in the north end of Judiciary Square. On your map here, you're just going to want to ping and make your way to this building. There should be a parking garage entrance on either G or H streets, which is on the north and south side. Once you're down in here, in this far back corner, you'll find the mission entrance. So, you'll spawn into this loading bay where you need to get up onto the catwalk and grab the key. For this, you just want to head straight back. You can shoot the lock off of this locker door, grab the forklift key. This will then let you raise the forklift, and you can then climb up the truck to grab the door key. It is worth noting that you can throw a grenade through this window to hit an electrical box and open the door, but there is nothing exclusive inside. It is just loot and material crates. Back below, you can now proceed through this door. You will come across your first visible collectible over on the right. However, this is going to be inaccessible until later in the mission, so just continue on. Eventually, you will reach your first combat space here. You're just going to want to take out all the enemies, and around the back side of the tree, you'll see a shootable panel. This opens up these store shutters, and in the very back, there's a sprinkler valve you can turn. Head back to the tree, more ads will spawn. The mission will then guide you to a second valve. Once everything is done, the sprinklers will have extinguished the fire on this storefront, and this lets you interact with the panel and proceed. Upon climbing up, before continuing on with the mission, you're going to want to turn to the right, and behind this rubble, you will find a toy machine. These are going to be important later on. There are 11 of them total in the mission, and these are this classified assignments randomized element. So for some of you, this first one may be illuminated blue and interactable. All you're going to want to do is check each one as we go along, and if it is interactable, then do it. So when you exit that room, immediately to your left will be toy machine number 2. Go and check if it is interactable. Once you are ready to proceed, you can roll through the fire that is blocking this entryway and shoot the panel on the far wall to extinguish the flames blocking the door. Now, when you enter into this hallway, Manny is going to start barking mission orders at you, but before you proceed, you're going to want to make a hard right, and in the back here, you'll find an interactable file cabinet, and be sure to claim this staff area key that will come into use later. Now, for this combat space, there is an interesting optional mechanic. It's kind of up to you to choose how you proceed. The smoke that is present in the hall here makes visibility very low, but Manny highlights that shooting out the skylights will dissipate it and enhance visibility. If you do that, though, the temperature is going to rise, and you will take damage over time until you can make it far enough through. So a pretty neat little choose your own adventure moment, but that said, you could mitigate the low visibility of the smoke by using a pulse ability as well. So whichever route you choose, clear out the enemies, continue on. Eventually, you're going to come across an enterable store on the right side. You can either do this before the enemies are cleared out or afterwards, but in here you will find a third toy machine locked within this gated area. All you need to do is head to the back of the store, shoot out the lock on the locker, grab the key, return, and you can now enter in and interact with it if able. Similarly, Additionally, in this same space, there will also be an enterable alcove on the left side, and this is where toy machine number 4 is. So long as you grab the staff area key that we highlighted earlier, then this gate should be openable. So enter in and check the machine. You'll then want to continue on with the mission objective. This next connector corridor has toy machine 5. Now this one may be glowing yellow or just be uninteractable even if you see toys inside of it. If that is the case, do not worry. We're going to return here later. To proceed here, you're going to need to turn the valve in the closet on your left, and then in the next room, enter the room to the right, and you can shoot the fire extinguisher on the far wall to suppress the flames. You'll then find yourself in this big court where you meet up with Division Agent McNally. So take out all the cleaners, head down, speak to McNally. He will then follow you around. All you need to do is approach this spot in the rubble, and it will start a sequence where he crawls through and has some long dialogue. Eventually, he's going to toss out a fuse, and it will be a collectible in the middle of the court. Pick that up. Around the far side of the rubble, you can then enter into this room by shooting the extinguisher on the left, and then you can insert the fuse. More ads are going to spawn in, but soon enough he will drop down this rope that you can climb. Before proceeding, however, on the lower level, you will find this candy store, and this holds toy machine 6. Just look through the window, shoot the panel, it will open up the shutter, and you can check the machine. Now, when you do ascend the rope, before following the mission objective, you can actually retrace McNally's steps through the store to the right, and if you go down the ramp, this will let you grab your first collectible comm. After that, you then just want to follow the mission marker. McNally will have some further dialogue and shenanigans. This hall and arena features the same optional combat mechanic with smoke and temperature, so whichever one you choose, just take out all the enemies. Eventually, McNally is going to do something that opens up this shutter gate for you. There should just be 1 to 2 enemies inside, but after taking them out, this door actually holds toy machine 7. You're going to find some stairs in the back corner, and if you shoot out this extinguisher, it puts out the fire. Do note, however, that the bottom floor of this store intensifies the temperature mechanic. You'll see a gauge appear below your radar. If you take too long or you stay for too long down there, you will take some pretty heavy damage over time and eventually go down. 2 pieces of advice here. The first is that you can see the toy machine when you enter in. If it's glowing blue, then you do need to do this puzzle, but again, it's entirely random, so if it's empty or not glowing, then just don't bother with this. If you do have to do it, however, put on a revive hive so that it can pick you up if you go down. All you need to do, though, is jump over this obstacle on the left and hug that wall all the way around to this fire control panel. Interacting with this will get rid of the flames in front of the toy machine for you to approach and interact. So, back in the main hall, McNally will need you to look across the walkway and shoot the pipe that is above these flames to proceed. Once you do, you can then jump down and deal with the spawning ads. Before proceeding, however, it is worth noting that this toy shop holds significance. First off, it has toy machine number 8 right here, but then also, behind this counter, it is engulfed in flames. If you shoot the yellow box behind, though, it lets you enter in. You can then interact with this panel and hit the button. Doing all of that will power the arcade game that is beside the toy machine. And what's neat is that this dynamically tracks your progress on the overall toy machine puzzle. If I didn't say it before, this is ultimately leading us up to unlocking the backpack trophy. The poster right beside this describes what you have to do, which is just find all of the machines across the mall and interact with 5 of them. These 5 squares at the bottom of the screen represent how many you've interacted with so far. They'll be illuminated in yellow or gold, which means right here I've claimed 3, whereas 2 are still locked or unfound. So we're going to be returning here, but just make note of that. Now, as soon as you exit the toy shop and climb up to follow the mission objective, you're going to want to bank a right and you will find this storefront. Here you can shoot the extinguisher just beyond, and it lets you then interact with the panel to enter in. This is where you'll find toy machine 9. Now, immediately after this, you and McNally will head up this escalator, but if you go behind it, you can shoot the lock off of here to enter in and find toy machine 10. After all that, you will then enter into a large food court, which is the final combat sequence of the mission. Just shoot all the bad guys, do all the things. Be sure to not auto deconstruct the loot pile that the boss drops, however, as this is where you get the mission exclusive named item, the Incendia. Now, once you're done, Manny is going to note that you have the option to either leave the mission or stay behind and further investigate McNally's attacker. Definitely stay, as there's still a couple of things that we need to do. Following up on the backpack trophy first, once the mission is done, this shutter on the lower level of the food court will be interactable. In here, you will find the 11th and final toy machine, so once again, interact with it if needed. But also, if you head back through this hallway, you can go down the stairs and find our second collectible comm. This is the one that we'd seen at the very beginning beginning of the mission but could not yet claim. It actually helps that we are back at the start. However, because if you retrace your path, you want to pass by the burning tree, climb up the rubble, turn left, and at the location of Toy Machine 2, which we previously covered, this door beside it should now be unlocked, whereas you could not previously enter. Now, I didn't grab any sort of key for this. I think that it just unlocks once the mission is completed. That said, if I somehow miss something and it's locked for you even after the mission is done, definitely do leave a comment below and we will see if people can illuminate things here. As I said, though, you should be able to enter. Now, this is only relevant if the toy machine that we passed earlier, that one that was glowing yellow, is one of your randomly selected 5. If it is, then you're going to find a fuse sitting in this hallway, which you can grab. Then back around this corner, there is a key box, and if opened up, it gives you a fuse box key. With both of those, you can then exit the far door, open the fuse box, insert the fuse, and this will power that previously uninteractable toy machine, which can now be claimed, again, if it is one of your randomly chosen 5. So, after doing that, whichever 5 your mission run selected, we have visited all 11 machines, so you should have the puzzle completed. This means that you can return to the toy store, which is past the next 2 major areas and combat arenas from where we just were, and when you interact with the arcade game, all 5 squares should light up, and it will give you a loot prompt below. This lets you claim the backpack trophy, but we are still not done yet. Now, this next section is basically just going to be full-on spoilers, so either be warned or be ready to pause at each moment if you want to try and not be spoiled. But if you go back to McNally at the mission exit, you can speak with him to get a service tunnel key. If you turn around, this then lets you enter into this room where you may have previously seen a comm here, so be sure and grab comm 3. Then, by looking through the ajar elevator, you can shoot a yellow box and open it up. Down here, you'll see a pile of explosive barrels next to this conspicuously marked wall. Shooting them lets you enter in, where you can then approach this window where we get our first in-person glimpse at our mysterious antagonist of these missions, or Max as he was called in the first classified assignment of the year. He runs off. You can then turn a valve behind you and head back to this first room where the far door will now be extinguished and openable. Manny then calls out that Max gets away, but here you can claim the mission's echo, which illuminates things further. After watching that, just beyond here is the 4th and final comm of the mission. Exiting this area will then put you back around midway through the mission, but you are now free to depart, having done and collected all that there is to collect and do. Well, there you have it, everybody. That is a full guide and walkthrough for Classified Assignment 5 of Year 8, the District Mall Inferno. Pretty intricate, huh? This is probably the busiest one of these that we've gotten so far this year, and I mean that just in terms of how much is going on. This has a heavy narrative with multiple scripted sequences with McNally, ties into the current season storyline, our first encounter with Max after all this time. There's then those optional combat objectives and mechanics with the smoke and temperature stuff, and then the usual depth of puzzles and secrets with hidden rewards. For me, I think this is no contest. This has to be my favorite classified assignment of the year yet. I would love to hear your thoughts, though, even a ranking of how you would place each one of these so far. That said, I very much hope that this guide helped you out. Of course, leave any questions that you may have down below too, but that is going to wrap up everything I've got for you today. Thank you all so much for coming by and watching, and until I see you next, RogueGold. Ow. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go!
And